All right, I think we are live right now, just a couple minutes before 4, and trying to check out the chat and make sure everything is going good. I think we are live right now. Just all right, yep. So I got the feedback there. It looks like I'm live on the watch page. So if anybody is here waiting, can you just confirm that you're able to see me, hear me, and I think we're good to go here. Just waiting a couple more minutes before I jump into all the content. And for everybody who is here with me, I'm going to be doing a little bit on camera, and then mostly I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, good, 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 good. We got the first person, Mary. Thank you very much, Mary. Appreciate hearing. I think that everything should be good. So I'll get started in just about 1 or 2 minutes. I have 3:58 here in my time. Mm. Hey, Michelle. All right, Michelle. Michelle helps me out a lot when we do the take note chats. She's the expert behind YouTube. So I had to ask her a few questions on, was it last week when I had a little bit of trouble? So she was able to help me out. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's 4 o'clock, and I see a few people here watching. So I want to do a very quick welcome. Thank you very much for being here with me live. It's 4 p.m. on, let's see, was it Wednesday, December 5th? And it's a rainy day here in Los Angeles area, California. What I'm going to be doing today is going through the behind the scenes look at how I plan Learn OneNote conferences and how I actually plan like the Learn Teams conference. And I've also done Efficient Teacher Conference. So I've done 5 online conferences. Some people call them summits. And then I've also done um, yeah, I think that's it. The 5 summits. So we're gonna get behind the scenes. I'll show you kind of how I do things, and then also since we're OneNote fans, it'll be a heavy leaning on how I set up the structure of the OneNote notebook. All right, let me go ahead and get in here and share my screen so that you all can start to see the outline of what we're doing. It looks like my screen is shared, and just waiting for it to come through here on the watch page. Okay, great. So one thing that I wanted to just show everybody, just for to benefit from my mistake, is here I did a create video or post. Last week I tried to do this YouTube live and I had some trouble. I went I went right here to do it, and I found out that if I do it this route, then I do not have the option to share my screen and get into this share screen through the Google Hangouts. So, anyways, you got to go to live events and set up your event that way. Just a little food for thought there. Okay, so you all know I'm Jared DeCamp, put on the Learn OneNote conference. You got a little bit of connection and a little backstory of what we're going to cover. This is my OneNote notebook, and here I'll show you some of the behind the scenes. So I have a few OneNote notebooks, getting things done to camp. There's my planner. I have projects, and then for my big projects, I have 2018 long. So it's a dedicated OneNote notebook. And before I go any further, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat, and I'll kind of periodically check that out and answer questions as we go. Okay, so you can see that I have the 2018 Learn OneNote Conference notebook, and that's where I kind of do all the planning. But then I have this demonstration notebook too. And so what I did is I copied and moved everything into here just for this presentation purposes so that I could hopefully not release or share any private information or anybody's email address or whatever. So that's kind of how I do it. So I have a dedicated notebook for planning the OneNote conference or any big conference. If it's a smaller project, then I have this project notebook. Say I'm just going to do a course, or maybe I'm starting out a conference concept. I'll start it as a section and then I'll move it to its own dedicated notebook a little bit later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these sections and just talk about the highlights as we go. Just check and see if there's any. Let's see. Go back to YouTube, see how everybody's doing. Looks like everybody's good. Okay, so here's this OneNote notebook again. Talked about the OneNote notebook structure a little bit. And so this is a notebook, and then I have all of these sections, and I kind of break it out by topic. So I have ideas, I have plans, speakers, and kind of go through things. And it's also the sections are somewhat in sequential order. So like if you notice, like at the bottom, I have results and feedback at the end or at the bottom. And then I have course. This is like a course that I took, and I just included it in here. So you can see the section layout, and I want to go into each one. So ideas, this section, this is where I kind of use a brainstorm, and you can see how how not beautiful this page is. Like this, my notebooks are a lot of times a little bit uh, not great to look at because I use it very much as a scratch pad and note area, and it's very live and living and changing all the time. So I'm kind of putting ideas here, pricing ideas, promo video. Let's see, a little bit of questions that I was working through, schedule, and you can see how I like write a lot of handwriting out, and I was trying to figure out like how am I going to structure all the content. And this is one of the things that I love about OneNote, that I can move the pages around. And then let me show you. So like if I'm working on a page like this, you can hit this top right and make it a full screen view. And it works out pretty well, like when you're drawing, because you still have the draw tools. But if you notice, like say you're working with a table, you don't have the table option anymore. So one thing I've been doing a lot is I've been doing the view and changing the navigation panes and doing hide all. That way I still have all these things, but I have like all the features and functions in modern OneNote, but then I have the ability to widen my screen as wide as possible. So just a little idea for you there. All right, continuing down. So plan. This is where I will write out a little bit more of my plan. Just kind of work through. So like I ended up doing this plan final, and I kind of bullet listed a lot of things out, have my timing, the flash sale, email marketing, social sharing, marketing. So you can see that I really try to list things out, and I use this page to try to condense all of these sections here on the left and condense them into one bullet list that I could kind of reference back and forth in the future as I'm doing the conference. Okay. All right. So just checking the watch page. Yeah, Michelle, that is a good thing to do. I've really been liking it a lot. Okay. So speakers, this is one thing. Let me go back to my little thing here. I have a couple of tags noted where I want to like highlight some things further, and in addition to just like showing you the organization. So for speaker section, I'll go ahead and click that. I want to show you. So again, we'll do navigation panes and hide all. It's really tricky. There was 37 sessions. And so you're trying to like lay out the concepts and lay out the ideas and handle all the speaker applications. So what I did is I have two main topics, and I made these little sticky notes that are kind of custom made. Each has their own little note container. Blue was for the business people. Green was for the education people. And I would write people's name in there and put down their topic idea. And you can see that I started like, I forgot this one. So Matthew Gilbert's in there. I'll delete that. So I'm not showing you the filled out one so much because there's a lot of like personal things with all the people that I was working with, but I would fill out a name and then like maybe move it over here, almost like a Kanban board, like as I'm sifting through the process. And so like maybe this speaker is a maybe, and then maybe this speaker I definitely want. And then maybe I would move it down and draw another line if I needed. And this just allowed me to zoom in, zoom out, and move things around. So I wanted to show you that. I'm actually pretty excited. Oh, how about I do this? How about I show you really quickly how I do it? I do insert a table and then make the table a color. Let's say the green, that will be my outline. And then my cursor is still in that table, and I'll insert another table that's one by one. And then I'll make that table white. And then now I can add stuff in here as I need, or maybe insert below so that I have the two cells vertically there. All right, so I talked to you about the sticky notes. And then let's go ahead and get into Microsoft Forms. Go ahead and check the chat real quick. Okay, so Microsoft Forms. This is something that I use quite a bit, and so it's another tool in your toolbox that you can use when you're planning an online event. So I have a few forms, and like one of these is a survey form that I send out to everybody and can ask questions. And then also I did, where is it? Maybe it might be in my, oh, here we go. The Learn OneNote Conference Speaker application. So I created this form here, and I was able to share it by clicking up here. And that allowed me to kind of like ask a few questions to each of the prospective speakers. And really what it allowed me to do too is quickly get like their Twitter handle or their Facebook profile. And that was really helpful. Like the LinkedIn profile. So I just actually went through that a few days ago and made sure that I was connected to all of the speakers via LinkedIn. So that was really helpful. And then I sent a couple of suggestions on what kind of topics people wanted to talk on. There's some education possible topics, and then people gave a little summary of what they really wanted to talk about most. So Microsoft Forms is pretty cool. And if you haven't messed with that too much, I recommend doing it it helps a lot with your speakers. And then I was able to have an Excel file and copy and paste and put these into these sticky notes and start moving around and start laying out the schedule. Probably when you're putting on a conference, probably maybe one of the hardest parts is getting the speakers and organizing the speakers. So using that forms really helps with all that process. Wait, what did I want to talk about next? Okay, so that's good. So I'll talk about colors in a little bit, but I talked about the speakers and I want to talk about marketing. So this is something that I do quite a bit. I'm a big fan of tables. So I use tables a lot. And so you can see here AD. So my wife also has this notebook. It's a shared notebook and kind of work on things together. I just created a calendar, a content calendar, and kind of wrote out like what kind of marketing and what kind of social media that I would do. And then down here, we kind of identified who would be doing what, like myself and my wife. And you can see like we wanted to boost the video on Facebook and do like $100 in advertising. We want to do the daily speaker gift, tweet, and Facebook post. During the conference, we do an hourly tweet as each session is released. We just tweet about that. So this was kind of the page that I would go back and forth to, and then I would copy items. Let's just say Tuesday, I would copy this item into my daily planner and make sure that I accomplish that. And so each day I would just kind of check this for the month leading up to the conference. All right, so that's that. Now into emails. A couple cool things here with emails. Hey, Edward. Okay, so just check the chat. So Forms is not part of OneNote. It is another tool. I have an Office 365 account, and so that's how I have it. I'm not sure if Microsoft Forms is paid or free option, but you just go to Microsoft Forms, then you can find it and see how to get access to that. Okay, so my emails, every email that I do starts in OneNote. And I really, really like it so that I can have this clear, empty draft before I jump into my email service provider, which is ConvertKit. And I'll show you that in a second. Um, so, like we have an email and you can see like the kind of work that goes on behind the scenes. This is what I have is like for this thank you email sequence, there's two emails, and I was able to copy and paste like old emails. So like for our Teams conference, this was, I think, yeah, this was like an old conference email template. So had it here for reference, and then kind of went down through the process and drafted this whole email. And then when it was done, copied and pasted it into my email service provider. Now, if you notice these emojis right here, and you can accomplish an emoji by hitting this toolbar down here. Here, let me show you that again. That might have been a quick. This touch keyboard is one way to do it. And then you can hit the smiley face and put anything you would like right there. They're kind of fun. So this actually serves a good purpose. It's not only just to look cool. So like there were a few emails that I was sending to um I don't know, we were just working through the process. So I was writing the email and then my wife was editing the email and putting it into the ConvertKit form or ConvertKit software and sending out the email. So as you guys know, if you're working with other people in OneNote, sometimes there's a little bit of concern as to syncing and like, are you using the most current version, or is there any error of syncing on your part? Especially because a lot of times I'm working across the table from my wife who's working on the same notebook. So if yeah, for the most part is pretty synced and up to date, but we do this as a test. And what I did is the very last thing that I did when I was done with an email is I put the emoji up here, and that kind of let my wife know that that was a completed email that she could jump in and get started on. So like we have a cat, so I do a lot of cat emojis. Yeah, I think that helps. And check the chat quick. Okay, just jumped in, waiting for playback to start. I think everything's going good, but I think everybody's on here. We'll see. Looking at the chat, you should have a play button to start from the beginning. Okay, great. Thanks for helping, Michelle. Yeah, Michelle, you are my YouTube guide here. Okay, so Linda, is there a keystroke to get emoticons? I don't have the keyboard icon. Yes, there is. It's control period. Let me test that live with you, make sure it works, and then I'll put it in there. So nope, control period is bullet list. What is it? Okay, it's a Windows key, period. Okay, did you hear that? Windows key plus period. And that'll get you what you need. Okay, moving right along. I think that we'll be able to get out of here in about 30 minutes or so. 4 to 4:30 is what I mean. Not 30 minutes from now, but 30 minutes total. Okay, so website. This is it's pretty fun process. What I want to show you here on my website is where in the website section, I write all kinds of stuff in here. There's like the URL structure. I wrote out a table. Once again, you hear that I like tables, and this is a URL structure of every single page. And I have to do that because of a few things that are a little bit beyond what we want to talk about right now. But anyways, that helped me so that like if somebody, hey, I couldn't access XYZ page, I was able to link to that right away. Let me see. And then I had a bunch of pictures from my old site to reference as I was going through things, just took screenshots. But really what I wanted to talk about, because I think I have a cool tool for you. When you're designing a website, it's a little tricky. I find I have trouble with the colors and everything. And so let's see. Nope. Let me show you. Where are we at? Ah, okay. So this is a cool website. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Coolors.co, COOLORS.co. Here you can get to my color scheme that I actually use for the conference. So maybe that will be interesting to you. And anyways, this is a cool site because it allows you to come up with some colors that look nice together. And you can actually pick colors from an image. So you can take a JPEG or a PNG file and upload it in here, and it'll grab some images for you. And that's what I did. I just looked around on like the OneNote site, Twitter, people with OneNote stuff, and I did things that way. Um, so let me show you one thing. So like I knew that I wanted a grape. I wanted this 7719 AA color to be my main OneNote color. And then I said, okay, I'm going to use this orange for whatever I use it. I think I use it for my buttons. I can lock these two pages and then I can hit the space bar. I'm hitting the space bar right now, and it gives me alternative colors that look nice with these two existing colors. And then I can also do things like maybe adjust. I could enter a manual color using the RGB scheme. I think I can do alternative shades. Maybe I want something a little bit darker, let's say, and then so there's a lot that you can work with here. I wanted to show you that. I think this is a really, really cool feature and it's 100% free. Coolors.co. I'm going to be using it for every website and every little design project that I have from now on. And there you can see the screenshot, and I kind of use this. So here's my source. I looking at Ryan McMinn, Twitter. He's a product manager of OneNote. You can find him on Twitter. He has a really nice banner image, and so I was just looking at some colors that he have, and I did the color hex, and then I also had the RGB because like if I'm in PowerPoint and creating marketing images, the RGB is needed, whereas the color hex is what I use for the website. Um, yeah, yeah, I use the Spanish orange for the button. I kind of wrote it out, so I refer back to this page quite a bit. Um, as I went through things. And there's a lot more here to the website, but I'll kind of keep going. All right, showed you the website section and then the course section. So, or actually, I'm going to go website community. I don't really have a whole lot here. I had the meetings. This is kind of like where my plan was to go through questions that I had. And then every time I would have a meeting with my wife or a contractor or whatever, I could like put things here. I didn't end up using it too much. Mm, okay, so then bonuses. This is one of the bonuses. And also, I have the 5-day cleanup process for the bonus, which you should, if you're an all access pass buyer or a hub member, should have access to the 5 videos and 5 steps. But you can kind of see how I use all these behind the scenes. This is all my scratch pad, notepad as I'm going through things and going through the process and writing out and cleaning up myself, just kind of working all in here. And this is the place that I use to get things out of my head and onto OneNote and through the process. Let's see. There we go. There's a summary. Kind of start out there. And then actually you can see here, this is my demonstration notebook. So this is where the notebook that I'll pull up when I'm recording stuff. Here we go. I went through all the steps and this is what I was filming as I created this process. All right, let me check the chat. Okay, cool. Cooler site. Such a cool find. Yes, Michael. Yeah, cool. That will come in handy. Thank you. Okay, glad that I'm helping a couple people. There's a lot to this, and I'm trying to go with some level of speed, but also help you out. This is the one thing that I wanted to also show you. So I'm not sure what the gauge is of the audience exactly. So maybe you can just help me out. Oh, Michelle, Jared, what does all that green and yellow highlight mean? Okay, cool. So I'm glad you asked that, Michelle. Where was that at? Let's see. Bonus. Okay. Yeah, so I don't I don't actually remember what the green and yellow highlight mean, but basically I use green to mark signify things as done, and I use yellow if like I'm almost done or have progress, but I need to come back to later. So I think that as I was going through my notebooks, you can see OneDrive personal notebook, documents of OneDrive personal. So I was going through and finding all of my notebooks. I think when I deleted them or if I archived them or was if I was done in any way with that notebook, I just highlighted it green. And if I was in progress on it, it was yellow. And that kind of made sure that I went one by one by one. Okay. So I just dropped a link in the chat box. And this is full disclosure, it is an affiliate link, but it provides a free resource for you. And I'm showing it here on my screen. This is Virtual Summit Mastery. So I'm not really sure the vibe. That's what I was trying to get into. I'm not sure how everybody is on this call, like, or this video. Like, are you wanting to know more about OneNote, or are you also kind of curious for putting on your own kind of event, like how I've done with OneNote Teams and other things? So if you are in that second pool and you're thinking about like improving your online presence or putting on an online event or anything like that, this is a free resource, but kind of like the OneNote conference, you have to use your email address to log in and get that free resource or opt in, I should say. And it's a cheat sheet that goes into even more depth and more details and a bunch more resources. Even if you're just like an online blogger or something, I think you'll find some of the resources pretty helpful. And yeah, you click the green button, download it, and go ahead and take it. This is a source that I use to get myself started with all of this online stuff. And again, it's an affiliate. So if he does have a course, if you end up paying for the course after clicking my link in the YouTube video, then I will get a small commission. But okay. So that's a great resource. Check the chat here. Got it. Okay, great. Moving on. Feedback section. All right. So I did the bonuses. And then now I'll go through free bonuses and the course, and then we'll come back to the feedback. So, like, if you're noticing a trend, there's a lot that goes on with these online events, and everything that I do starts inside of OneNote. So, like, let's see, what did I have for the kickoff party? I just kind of bulleted out my thought process. I was thinking about doing some discounts and stuff. Here I have the tweet meet. So I posted all these tweet meets on actually that's a good thing that I don't have written down to say. So I'm gonna pull an audible here and just say if you are not using TweetDeck, that is a great source. So let me put that in the chat. Great way to schedule tweets. So I use that quite a bit for the conference, and you can actually see here, I can follow this hashtag LONC18. And then when I did that tweet meet, I took these individual um, questions and I was able to put them into TweetDeck and schedule them out. Okay. What else we got here? All right, we've been going for about 25 minutes, so I'm trying to keep moving quickly and ask your questions, or we'll just keep going. Ah, this is what I want to say. So I said the feedback or free courses or free bonuses. So that's one of the free bonuses was the tweet me. And then course. So I was kind of working through the VSM, the Virtual Summit Mastery. That's the link that I gave you. And I kind of would write notes as I was like refreshing my memory of this process. And I'm actually going to eventually right click and move copy and move this into probably like my project notebook here. And then VSM here. I have an education section group inside my projects notebook. So like I have a couple of courses that I take, and so I'll probably end up moving that there. But since I was in since I was in the 2018 long notebook all the time, I put the course there. Okay, feedback. I wanted to tell you something. Um, if you remember when you signed up for the Learn OneNote conference, you received an email immediately that said you're in. I think it said you're in. And then you were directed to a limited time offer to purchase the all access pass. That was a URL page. And then 4 hours later, I sent an email um, that said something along the lines of like, can you do me a favor and hit reply and tell me how you found out about us and just make sure that you got the first email a few hours ago. And I want to highlight this because anytime you are doing anything for online presence and you're using an email opt-in, it's really, really tricky because you're trying to get these emails to people. And sometimes, there's a lot of things that can go not as great as you would like. So sometimes people are upset that there's too many emails. Sometimes people email you and say, "Hey, I didn't know about that." And so they're upset that they maybe missed out on something or a free period because I didn't send them an email. Uh, and the primary thing that's the challenge is a lot of times emails will get blocked by spam or get sent to the junk folder or whatever. And so one of the tricks that is a good trick to implement for yourself is as soon as somebody signs up for an email list, get them to respond to you as quickly as possible. So that's what I use for this 4 hour email. I said, let me know how you heard about us, and something like that's a really easy question for them to answer. And a lot of people were able to respond, and that just helped improve the deliverability of the emails. And then while we're talking about emails still, just wanted to point out here, this is ConvertKit, and this is the email service provider that I use um, for all this services. Okay, and Mary, yeah, learning more about OneNote rather than producing a conference at this point. Totally understand. That's why I'm kind of just going over everything as transparent as I possibly can. Okay, feedback section. So that email response, yeah. And then let's get into results. So here is the results, and these are the kind of categories that I'm kind of watching as I try to understand my results. And I'm not going to show you some of these pages because these are just like my personal numbers. But I will tell you that we had a little over 3,000 people that signed up for the conference, and then we had the video views were a little, I think like a little over 15,000 video views. So that was awesome, excellent, and I love putting on these events. I hope you can tell that I'm excited about it and I like doing all this stuff. Okay. Um, so that's that. That's kind of like the OneNote notebook structure. And then I showed you the Microsoft Forms and the survey form and the speaker application. So it looks like at least one person was kind of learned about Microsoft Forms this time. And I want to show you Microsoft Teams. If is anybody using Teams, this is the collaboration chat feature, function, app, tool, software, whatever you want to call it, that Microsoft has. If you're familiar with Slack, this is a competitor of Slack and in many ways is better than Slack because just like OneNote, it fits nicely into all of your Office 365. And the big news is, I think earlier this year, that Microsoft Teams is free as well. So I think there's whether you're an educator or a business user, it is a free option. So that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of things you can do with Teams. There's the conversation, there's files, there's wiki. You can even add a tab and you can get OneNote in there. So I actually do a whole Learn Teams conference. I did one last April, and then we should have another one coming up. I might do it a little bit later in the year. I'm thinking May, June or so, doing a Learn Teams. So there's a lot to this, but I just want to point out for the conference, one thing that we do when you upload files to Teams, it saves it on the cloud. And so a lot of times, like you can see modified by Andrea DeCamp. So my wife made a image or modified it and she would upload it here. And then that way it would be here in the resource. And that was a way that we did things without emailing documents back and forth and getting them lost. So you can see that you can download, view, um, see all this stuff, and you can have like conversations around this um, file. Like it's a little bit slow, but there we go. So like if I wanted to tell her, hey, can we change the color here, change this here? It's really helpful, and especially if and when in the future we have more people on the team, or maybe you're in your organization, you're doing stuff with 5, 10, hundreds, thousands of people. Teams is a great option for that. Okay, so that's Microsoft Teams, and I primarily use it for the file upload, which is a significant underuse of the program. So I fully admit that, and hopefully I'll just continue improving right along with all of you. Okay, so let's check the chat. So Michael is just started using Teams, and Michelle not using Teams yet, but very interested. Yeah, I think it's going to start growing, so I'm excited to see that. Um, okay, Michael, do you exclusively use the OneNote Win 10 app rather than OneNote 2016 version for organization? Well, yes. That's the answer is absolutely 110% yes. And I know that there's a lot of controversy around this. And if since you're here with me live, I can say what is it? Today's again December 5th. One of my plans for early next year, hopefully, is to actually publish a book and maybe a course on modern OneNote. This is this OneNote Windows 10 app, and hopefully help do my part to clear up some confusion, because I find it to be much more pleasant and much more useful than even OneNote 2016. I just there's a lot that goes into that. And maybe we can have a conversation separately, Michael, if you want to dive into all of that further. But yeah, I'm using this OneNote, and you can actually see here below that I am not using 2016. I do fully admit that there are fewer features in the OneNote for Windows 10, but as you've seen, I use a lot of tables. I use a lot of digital ink, and those work out really well in the OneNote Windows 10. Okay, so additional tools. I am kind of transitioning into more of less OneNote and just more tools that I use in my online world. So I'll show you a couple of the tools. So Vimeo is for all the videos. I don't know why it's Vimeo's for my video hosting. So like on the web pages, I host the videos on Vimeo. I don't know why it's slow here. There we go. So if you have any videos that aren't on YouTube, you can use Vimeo. And then I'm also using Thrive Themes. This is my favorite, what's it called? Like WordPress website builder. This is how I design all of the conference pages and everything. This is ConvertKit is my email service provider that I use. And then Teachable is what I use right now for your all access pass area. So if you go to the learn.classinoffice.com, this is actually a page that's on Teachable. And it's kind of how we have it set up. And then my class in office site, when you go back there, this is a WordPress site on Thrive themes. So, and then learn on conference, show you that. And then how about the last one, learn Teams conference. For anybody that's a little bit interested in that, learn Teams. So this is the homepage that you're very familiar with. And then this is a Learn Teams conference with last year's or earlier this year speaker. So that was a fun event. And again, hoping to do that again. All right. So let's check the Vimeo, Thrive Themes, ConvertKit, Teachable. And it sounds like most of you are mostly interested in my OneNote structure. So I won't say too much about this, but my next level, the progress or the project that I'm working on right now is to change the conference to evergreen so that people can join in and be able to get some access to some of the sessions, and then have an opportunity to purchase if they want all of it. So that's just something I'm working on. And you can go ahead and ask questions about that or anything else you have. I'm going to go ahead and stop the sharing and just kind of wrap up. So if you there we go. I think the camera is on. Hello again. All right, so I'm looking through my chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the side. If you need any help with growing your online presence, if you're a blogger or YouTuber, you want to put online events, I'm happy to help you with all of that stuff. Either in just like pure suggestions and ideas, or even more collaboration and ideas. One of the events that I put on was actually a conference because a OneNote attendee said that they wanted to put on an event with me, and so we were able to do that, and that was a fun project. Let me check the chat one more time before I kind of go get out of here. All right, so tech guy using Teams in most high school classrooms. The middle school teachers have it going. Only a few elementary teachers. Good to know. Okay, so it sounds like the higher up in class level, more Teams use. Lots of middle school users, school teachers using Class Notebook. Okay, yeah, yeah. The OneNote Class Notebook is great stuff. Okay, Michael, can you put those links in the chat, please? Good question. So let me do my Teams conference. Let me put this guy, which the OneNote conference. Let me do learn that class and office. Yeah, Mary, you like the evergreen conference plan. Yeah, you know, I think it's gonna be pretty cool once I get it going because, y you know yeah, there's a lot to it. I don't know if I wanna get into it, but yeah, it'll I think it'll allow more people to have an opportunity to see everything and, participate in the conference, even if they come, like, in a month from now, you know? Um, and it still will get there's a lot to that. Okay, so Michael, if you want any more help, just reach out to me, Jared at classandoffice.com. Or if anybody else has any questions or feedback, it looks like we're kind of wrapped up here and it's 40 minutes. So I will be putting a recording of this video in your, we have both all access pass buyers here, and then we also have Learn OneNote Hub buyers. And actually, I'll put a link to that. I think that's my OneNote membership, and it is open right now. So you should have received an email about that earlier. Um, but yeah, that's the OneNote membership group that I have. So yeah, I'll have the recording in either the membership group if you're a member already, and I'll have the recording in the all access pass area. And just thank you very, very much to everybody for being a buyer of whatever I've been putting out. I appreciate it. I can't do it without you. Can't do it without all the incredible, incredible speakers. Some of you I saw on here with me watching live, and I am always available for questions and collaboration. So thank you so much. And I'll be actually back on again tomorrow at the same time because I'm going to be going through that OneNote purge and cleanup. So if you are free tomorrow, please join me again. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.